coughing as soon as I press record. Stupid man flu. Happy Homebrew Wednesday. I'm back. I'm a bit late and I missed last week. I think the week before last week I was coughing. I got bad. It was the flu. Well, sorry, it's not the flu, it was a cold. It's the man flu, as our wives and girlfriends tell us. Real men don't get the flu, they get man flu. Yeah. So, worst thing about the man flu is you can't smell beer. You can't taste beer. So you can't get that beer appreciation. You know you're a craft beer drinker. You enjoy drinking craft beer, but you can't taste it. Good thing about having the flu and drinking beer is it makes you feel a whole lot better. Right, this little puppy here is my second contender for the SJPORR. My first contender for the SJPORR, I've drank too many bottles, so it's not a contender anymore because I haven't got enough bottles in case I win. But I had decided that it was a bit too hot. It was a bit too hot, a little bit too peppery to put in because everybody's palate's different. And yeah, it would have been a bit strong. So anyway, this is the second one. This is the Black Garlic IPA. It hasn't, I haven't cleared it up yet. Let's have a little look-see through the old sunlight. Sunlight. It's not the sun. It's a fucking light bulb, you twat. Okay. So yeah, it's still a little bit murky. It's still on its way, clearing up. But yeah, let's give this a crack. As I said, this is the Black Garlic Porter. I wasn't too sure about it. It's helped with the cold. Man flu. What was it? Yeah, it is. It is. It's okay. It's not too bad actually. I'm getting quite partial to it. As long as I get too partial to it, then I run out of bottles again. But this one's kegged, and I had a check in the keg yesterday, and there is enough to make sure that I get enough bottles. It's not too bad. It hasn't got a bad head. Nice tight bubbles, or some big bubbles in there because I've been splashing it around a bit, but hey, it's got quite an interesting taste. It's got quite a unique taste. It's not as overpowering as I thought the black garlic would be. And as it's had a little bit of time to age, it's started to really settle down and mingle in there. I do have another contender for the SJPORR beer, as you do. Excuse me. Try and cover your bets, just in case one beer screws up or you drink too much of it. You have another one on the sideline, so got another one sitting in a keg there. It is only but a young beer, and it is the original SJPORR Porter's Mace that I brewed for last year's SJPORR Challenge. So we'll see how that one turns out as well. Speaking of the SJPORR Challenge, because that is what's been taking a lot of my time as well as the flu, and it sort of leaves me going, oh, I haven't got the energy to do a Homebrew Wednesday video because there's so much SJPORR stuff to do. So I've been a bit lazy, but I'll get back into it. Alrighty, speaking of SJPORR beers, we have some winners. Well, we have some winners in the US East Coast hub. That is SJPORR's hub. That's his hub himself. So, originally they had about 16 people in their hub. There's 65 odd people in the US, so it was split up over 4 hubs in the US to help with the shipping, to have a semi-final and then a final, and then those 3 beers from the final went on to the international final. So the individual 4 hubs in the US have been pumping along, and the first hub to finish is SJPORR's hub. Because they had quite a few dropouts, unfortunately. There was about 8 brewers, I think, that dropped out at the end of the day for the hub. So if you are in the SJPORR Challenge and you do not think you're going to be able to make it, please let us know as soon as you possibly can so that we get a good idea of the numbers. Or so that we can try and convince you to stay in the brew and keep on going, because it would be cool you've registered up, get brewing, get your beer done and get it in there. It doesn't have to be the best beer in the world, actually it does, that's what the competition's all about. Anyway, someone's got to win. You might have a beer that works just perfectly on the day. So don't underestimate the beer that you're brewing and think that it's not good enough to put in there, because it might be good enough. You never know. And at the end of the day, we get all these people that'll give you their opinion on the beer, and you'll learn a lot from it. So from an educational point of view, you're going to get a lot of really valuable feedback. Alright, so the winners for the US East Coast. If you don't already know, jump over to the SJPORR.com website and check it out, because as the hubs finish and the beers are finalised and locked down, which means 24 hours after the person that's rated that beer has rated that beer, it gets locked down and it cannot be changed. Once all the beers for the hub have been locked down, the scores automatically display if the entire hub has been voted, and then you get to see who's in the top 3 for your particular hub. Congratulations to those top 3, Barry, Joe, Tim and Bob. It was close. The scores were really close, as we worked it out based on average. So your average score, and we ranked you. The position between the first place and the second place, there was 0.0625 points in it. That close. That close. That close. It's a difference of one person putting a 0.5 score, or something like that. Wow, that's close. Close. Really close. On the site, however, they've been rounded up to the nearest 1 decimal place, just for viewing purposes. But when they come out of the database, we see them in their raw, untainted average. So, you know, lots of decimal points. So it's right down to the nail on this scoring. But yeah, well done, guys. Congratulations. You've got your hub position. As I said, if you don't know who they are, see, I don't want to give away the people. I probably did, but hey, go and check out the site and see who did win. And then have a look at the little graph below, because it shows the number of beers that have been voted in each hub, and that still need to be voted in each hub before you can see who the winners are for that next hub. And I think in the Midwest, excuse me, there's 44 beers that still need to be rated. In the Southern hub there's 60, and on the West Coast 39. So that's actually quite interesting, because you can see there's who drinks more. But hey, it's really interesting. Speaking of West Coast IPA Challenge. That's right, in New Zealand every year the Malt House runs the West Coast IPA Challenge, where the craft brewers around New Zealand brew their best West Coast IPA, and they put it in for a weekend, and People's Choice announce who's the best West Coast, and voted, of course, and judged and all that. Garage door going up. Right, so they do a West Coast Challenge, West Coast IPA Challenge, where they brew a beer to the style guidelines. There's no style guidelines for West Coast IPA, but they brew a West Coast IPA. That's all the brewers around New Zealand, and they all get together at the Malt House and put them on tap, and it's a People's Choice Award, and judged, etc., to see who's got the best West Coast IPA. So Panhead are putting in their Boss Hog. Here's a picture of their beer. So this is specifically brewed just for the West Coast IPA. You aren't going to see this beer again. So if you are in Wellington, go to the Malt House next Friday. Starts at 3 PM next Friday. Next Friday being the, today, I can't remember the date. I'll write the date down the bottom once I remember what the date is. And it runs until Saturday, Sunday, until the beer runs out. To get yourself some of these unique crafted beers specifically for this challenge. So it's a great, great weekend. It's also a reason why I don't do Dry July. New Zealand, we do a campaign for cancer, Dry July, where you don't drink for a week. Don't drink for a month. And you get sponsored, and money goes to help fund cancer research and bits and pieces like that. It's a bit hard to do when you're a craft beer drinker, because there's always these cool events happening. And after July, we've got August. Beer Varna month. It's busy. Anyway, I'll make this really short. And as with every Homebrew Wednesday, it wouldn't be complete without mentioning Balin's Brewery. There you go, mentioned. Cheers, Aidan. But yeah, cheers. Have yourself another one.